Welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. Right now, we're tackling the absolute explosion of generative AI in education. I mean, whether you're a language teacher, a curriculum designer, or just someone who's fascinated by how tech is totally reshaping the way we learn, you've definitely heard the endless debates. Does it work? Does it cheat? Does it actually help? Well, today, we're stripping away all those opinions and looking directly at the hard data. Okay, let's dive into this. It's the big question on literally every single educator's mind. Does ChatGPT actually help you learn a language? We know students are already using these tools, right? They're writing essays, translating texts, brainstorming ideas. But is this actually leading to better language acquisition? Or is it just, a crutch that bypasses the learning process entirely? To figure that out, we aren't just looking at one tiny isolated experiment. No, we're looking at a whopping 2,431 students. This explainer unpacks a massive, brand new meta-analysis. They synthesized 25 different empirical studies on this exact topic. So yeah, this gives our findings today some serious academic weight. We aren't guessing anymore. We finally have a true bird's-eye view of what actually happens when generative AI enters the language learning environment. So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, the GenAI language boom. Second, decoding the success framework. Third, the AI literacy gap. Fourth, the power of planning. Fifth, why teachers still matter. And finally, the future of AI classrooms.
Section 1. The GenAI language boom. Hype versus reality. Okay, so to really understand the impact, the researchers used a statistical measure called Hedges G. It calculates the effect size. In plain English, this just tells us how much better the AI group performed compared to the non-AI group. And the results? Well, they found an overall effect size of 0.75. Now, in the world of academic statistics, a score of 0.75 isn't just a minor little bump. It is a massive, highly significant positive boost. The data completely confirms the hype here. Students using GenAI performed significantly better. But, and this is a really big but, it's not just a matter of handing a student a tablet and walking away.
Which brings us to Section 2, Decoding the Success Framework, TBLT and TCF.
So the studies in this meta-analysis all used a pretty widely respected instructional approach known as TBLT, or task-based language teaching. Instead of just, drilling grammar rules into your head, TBLT is all about meaning. It gives learners the chance to achieve specific language outcomes through actual, real-world pedagogical tasks. It's highly practical, very hands-on, and, as it turns out, it's the absolute perfect environment for introducing generative AI. And this brilliantly illustrates how researchers measured success within those tasks, using the Triadic Compensational Framework, or TCF. Now, don't let that clunky academic name intimidate you. It's actually a beautifully simple way to categorize learning variables. They broke things down into 3 main buckets. Task difficulty, which is all about the learner's factors. Task complexity, which relates to the cognitive factors of the task itself. And task conditions, representing the interactional factors. By looking through these 3 specific lenses, the data revealed 3 big moderators that can literally make or break an AI-assisted lesson.
Let's look at the first one in Section 3, the AI literacy gap, knowing how to prompt. I really want to speak directly to the educators out there for a second. If you just hand a student ChatGPT without teaching them how to use it, the benefits completely plummet. It's wild. The data showed that if students had prior experience, or if they got specific training on how to use GenAI, things like prompt engineering and knowing how to ask the right questions, they saw a massive boost in their language performance. But for students without that AI literacy training, the effect size was tiny. It barely moved the needle at all. So AI literacy is no longer just a nice-to-have skill. It is a strict prerequisite for effective learning with these tools.
Section 4. The power of planning, cognitive readiness.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that a critical necessity for success here is self-regulation. The researchers looked closely at task planning, basically whether students cognitively mapped out what they were going to do before diving in with the AI. And guess what? When task planning was involved, the GenAI had a hugely positive effect. But without planning, the benefit dropped to minimal levels. When students actually direct their focus and self-regulate before engaging with the chatbot, they're just far more prepared to leverage the AI for genuine learning, rather than passively letting it do all the heavy lifting for them. Section 5, Why Teachers Still Matter. The Human Assessor. So who is actually grading the student's work? You might think, oh, the AI can just grade what it generates, right? Well, not quite. When tasks were assessed by GenAI alone,
the helpfulness was actually extremely low. And oddly enough, the mixed assessor approach was even lower. But notice that first bar. When human assessors, meaning teachers or researchers, were grading and guiding the work, the effectiveness of the AI absolutely skyrocketed. Having a human in the loop isn't just helpful, it's an absolute necessity. But why is human assessment so critical here? It comes down to a fundamental reality about the tech we're using right now. Most of these GenAI tools, primarily ChatGPT, are general purpose. They are not built specifically for language learning. Because of that, they can sometimes spit out confusing, overly complex, or just completely inappropriate feedback for a second language learner. A student can get frustrated or misled really quickly. So the human teacher acts as this essential translator and guide. They bridge the gap between a super powerful but general AI and the specific pedagogical needs of that student.
Let's move to and see how this builds our final section. Section 6, the future of AI classrooms. Actionable takeaways. Based on this massive meta-analysis, the researchers offer 3 really vital actionable takeaways for institutions and educators right now. Number 1, don't just assign AI. Teach AI. Students have got to learn how to communicate effectively with these tools. Number 2, encourage pre-task planning. Make sure students are cognitively prepared before they even open that chat window. And number 3, teachers need to get more involved, not less, especially as assessors, providing the guidance and instruction needed to actually contextualize the AI's output. So, the crucial point to take away from this entire explainer is this. The data undeniably proves that generative AI is an incredibly powerful tool for language learning. But the human elements, those are the absolute secret sauce. It's really not about AI replacing teachers anytime soon. It's about teachers mastering AI and using it as a dynamic tool to guide properly prepared, digitally literate students. But all of this leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to end on. If we're already seeing these massive performance boosts using general-purpose tools like ChatGPT, tools that weren't even designed for education, what happens when we stop retrofitting? The researchers point out a glaring need for more language-specific GenAI tools. So I leave you with this. Will the next generation of GenAI finally be built exclusively for the classroom? And if so, just how high will those success metrics go? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, Focused Learners. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll catch you next time.